Welcome, high-value men. Let me ask you something. Why does flirting feel so complicated when it could be so simple? Picture this. You're talking to a woman you're genuinely interested in. The conversation is polite, smooth, and even friendly, but it's missing something. There's no spark, no excitement. At the end of the night, she says, "It was nice meeting you," and walks away, leaving you wondering, what did I do wrong? Flirting is often misunderstood. Many guys think it's about using clever pickup lines or showing off. But here's the truth. Real flirting is about subtlety, creating mystery, and sparking attraction without coming off as desperate. In this video, I'll guide you step by step through the art of flirting, turning it from a confusing challenge into something you can do effortlessly. By the end, you'll not only understand why your past efforts may have failed, but also discover how to project yourself as a high-value man, a man she can't stop thinking about. So stick with me for the next 18 minutes, because the insights you're about to gain will not only transform how you approach women, but also elevate how you carry yourself in every interaction. Sound fair enough? Let's dive in. Number 1. Why flirting matters? The missing spark. Flirting isn't just a playful interaction. It's the gateway to attraction. Without it, your conversations with women can feel flat, lifeless, and completely devoid of romantic tension. Let's start with a scenario that might sound familiar. Imagine you're at a social gathering. You meet a woman, and the conversation goes something like this. "Hey, where are you from?" "Melbourne, Australia." "Wow, so you survived all the deadly animals, huh?" "Haha, yeah, I guess." While polite, this exchange lacks any emotional depth. There's no flirtation, no excitement, no intrigue. It's the kind of conversation two colleagues might have over a boring lunch. And let's be honest, this type of interaction isn't leading to a romantic connection. At best, you're heading straight into the friend zone. Here's the truth. Flirting creates the spark that separates a casual interaction from one charged with attraction. It's what plants the idea in her mind that you're more than just someone to chat with. You're someone she could genuinely desire. Flirting shifts the dynamic, making her see you not as a friend, but as a potential partner. But there's more to it than just creating attraction. Flirting also sets the tone for how she perceives you. If done right, it communicates that you're confident, emotionally intelligent, and most importantly, high value. This is where the philosophy of Stoicism ties in beautifully. A high-value man doesn't seek approval. He projects an air of self-assurance and control. Now think back to the earlier conversation. Imagine if instead of asking about her survival in Australia, you leaned with a playful smirk and said, "So Melbourne? Huh? Is that your way of trying to impress me with your exotic upbringing?" It's cheeky, unexpected, and suddenly, the interaction has an entirely different vibe. Flirting matters because it changes the game. It adds a layer of fun, mystery, and chemistry that keeps her engaged. More importantly, it makes her curious about you. And curiosity is one of the most powerful emotions you can evoke. Remember, men who flirt effectively don't just capture attention, they create lasting impressions. The goal isn't to impress her with flashy moves, but to make her feel intrigued and excited. So, if you've ever wondered why your conversations seem to go nowhere, it's probably because you're not flirting, or worse, you're doing it the wrong way. The good news is that this is entirely fixable. By the end of this video, you'll understand the nuances of flirting and how to avoid the common traps that most men fall into. Ready to take it to the next level? Let's talk about the biggest mistakes men make when flirting and how to avoid them. Number 2. Common flirting mistakes to avoid. Flirting might seem like an art, but most guys treat it like a game of darts, blindly throwing lines and hoping something sticks. The truth is, there are a few key mistakes that kill attraction instantly. Let's break them down so you can avoid falling into these traps. Number 1. Being too obvious. One of the most common mistakes is being overly direct. You see a beautiful woman, and instead of creating intrigue, you blurt out something like, "You're gorgeous, can I buy you a drink?" While this might sound polite, it's predictable, and worse, it eliminates any sense of mystery. Why is this a problem? Attraction thrives on the unknown. When you're too obvious, you take away the excitement of discovery. Imagine watching a thriller movie where the villain is revealed in the first 5 minutes. Boring, right? The same applies to flirting. Instead of stating your attraction outright, try being subtle. For example, if she mentions loving a specific type of music, respond with something like, "Ah, so you're one of those mysterious indie music fans. Should I be impressed or worried?" It's playful, indirect, and keeps her guessing. Now, let me ask you, have you ever been too obvious when flirting? If you think this has been a challenge for you, comment 1. If not, comment 0. Let's see how many of you are ready to embrace the art of subtlety. 2. Focusing too much on physical appearance. Complimenting a woman's looks might seem like the easiest way to show interest, but it can backfire. When you focus solely on her appearance, you risk coming across as shallow or inexperienced. Worse, it might make her feel objectified, which is an instant turnoff. Think about it. High-value men don't need to overemphasize a woman's beauty to keep her attention. They find ways to acknowledge her intellect, humor, or unique qualities instead. For instance, instead of saying, "You have such pretty eyes," you could say, "I can tell you have a sharp eye for details. Are you always this observant?" This approach not only sparks her curiosity, but also positions you as someone who sees beyond the surface. Remember, compliments are best when they're thoughtful and unexpected, not generic. Number 3. Playing it too safe. Many guys are so afraid of rejection that they stick to safe conversations, avoiding anything remotely bold or flirtatious. While this might feel comfortable, it's a one-way ticket to the friend zone. For example, if your idea of flirting is saying, "So, how was your day?" you're missing the point. Women want to feel excitement and tension in an interaction. Playing it safe robs the conversation of any spark. Instead, try to add a playful edge to your words. If she mentions she's been busy with work, you could respond with, "Ah, I see," using work as an excuse to avoid fun. Typical. It's lighthearted, challenges her in a fun way, and invites her to engage on a deeper level. By avoiding these common mistakes, you'll instantly set yourself apart from the majority of guys. Flirting isn't about being perfect. It's about creating a dynamic that's intriguing and exciting. And remember, subtlety is your superpower. So, what do you think? Are you guilty of making any of these mistakes? Drop a 1 if you've been too obvious, or a 0 if you think you've mastered subtle flirting. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments. Number 4. The art of subtle flirting. Flirting is often seen as a mysterious art, but high-value men know it's all about subtlety. It's not about throwing flashy lines or trying too hard. It's about creating intrigue and sparking curiosity. Let's explore why subtle flirting works and how you can master it. Subtlety is the secret weapon of effective flirting. Think of it as planting seeds rather than throwing everything out there at once. When you're subtle, you leave just enough unsaid to keep her guessing. Mystery fuels curiosity, and curiosity draws her in. Here's a simple example. Imagine she says, "I love sports bras." A direct response might be, "I bet you'd look amazing in a sports bra." While this might seem flattering, it's too obvious and eliminates any sense of intrigue. Now let's make it subtle. You respond, "Really? Well, I love girls who love sports bras." The difference is clear. This playful response hints at attraction without revealing too much, leaving her intrigued rather than overwhelmed. Subtle flirting thrives on implication. Instead of outright stating your feelings or intentions, you suggest them. This creates a sense of excitement as she tries to figure you out. For instance, if she compliments your sense of humor, don't just say, "Thanks." Instead, try, "I'm glad you noticed. It's one of my best qualities." But don't get too impressed just yet. This keeps the interaction playful and invites her to engage more deeply. Here's where Stoicism can elevate your flirting game. A high-value man doesn't seek constant validation. Instead, he flirts with the calm confidence of someone who knows his worth. He's not chasing approval, he's creating a dynamic where she feels naturally drawn to him. Picture this scenario. She asks, "Are you always this charming?" Instead of stumbling for words, you smile and respond, "I try to tone it down, but sometimes it just slips out." This not only keeps the mood light, but also shows that you're in control of your emotions, a hallmark of a high-value man. Subtle flirting is about being selective and intentional. You're not trying to win her over. You're creating a connection that feels organic and effortless. When you're subtle, you leave her curious and engaged, wondering what you'll say next. That curiosity builds attraction. Number 5. Handling her tests like a high-value man. Flirting isn't always smooth sailing. At some point, you'll encounter tests, small challenges women use to gauge your confidence and composure. These tests might seem frustrating at first, but they're actually opportunities to showcase your emotional strength and self-assurance. Why do women test you? It's not to annoy or discourage you, but to evaluate how you handle yourself under pressure. A confident, high-value man isn't easily rattled, and these tests are her way of identifying whether you fit the bill. If you get defensive, insecure, or overly apologetic, it signals weakness. But if you respond calmly and playfully, you immediately stand out as someone worth her attention. Here's a common example of a test. She says, "I bet you use that line on all the girls." Many men might feel the need to deny it, saying something like, "No, I don't," or nervously trying to explain themselves. This only makes you seem insecure. The better approach is to use the technique called agree and amplify. Instead of denying her statement, you agree with it and take it to an exaggerated, playful level. For instance, she says, "I bet you use that line on all the girls." You respond with a smirk, "Of course, I even have a quota to meet every week." This response not only shows that you're unfazed, but also demonstrates a sense of humor and confidence. Here's another example. She asks, "How many women have you slept with?" Instead of getting flustered, you reply, "Today? Not too many." These playful comebacks make it clear that you're in control of the interaction. They diffuse the tension, turning what could be an awkward moment into an opportunity to showcase your charisma. High-value men don't take themselves too seriously, and they certainly don't let teasing remarks throw them off balance. Every test is a chance to reaffirm your confidence and show her that you're not easily shaken. Number 6. Act like you're the prize. Most men approach flirting with the mindset that the woman is the prize. They put her on a pedestal, bend over backward to impress her, and hope she'll give them a chance. But here's the truth. Women are naturally drawn to men who see themselves as the prize. Flipping the dynamic makes you stand out and signals that you're a high-value man. When you act like the prize, you change the tone of the interaction. Instead of chasing her, you subtly suggest that she's the one pursuing you. This doesn't mean being arrogant or dismissive. It means being playful and confident, as if you're both equals, but you hold the upper hand. Here's how to flip the dynamic effectively. Imagine she says, "Want to grab another drink?" Instead of eagerly agreeing, you respond with a grin. "Oh, I see how it is. Trying to get me drunk so you can take advantage of me?" Or she comments, "Massages are amazing." You reply, "Let me guess, you're trying to seduce me with free massages. I see your plan." These responses are lighthearted, but also subtly shift the power dynamic. They frame the interaction as if she's the one working to win you over. This playful role reversal not only keeps the conversation fun, but also sets you apart from the men who are constantly trying to prove themselves. Here's another example. If she gives you a lingering look, instead of saying nothing or acting shy, you could playfully ask, "Are you trying to seduce me with that look?" This keeps her engaged, makes her laugh, and shows that you're confident enough to call out the unspoken tension in the room. Why does this approach work? Because high-value men are not desperate for validation. They project a sense of abundance and self-worth that naturally attracts women. When you act like the prize, it communicates that you have options, and women find this incredibly attractive. Remember, the key to making this work is balance. You're not being rude or dismissive. You're using humor and confidence to subtly reframe the interaction. By doing this, you signal that you're someone worth chasing, which makes her even more intrigued by you. Number 7. Push-pull flirting, creating emotional tension. Flirting isn't just about what you say, it's about the emotions you create. One of the most powerful ways to keep her intrigued is through push-pull flirting. This method involves creating a playful tension by alternating between showing interest and pulling back. It's like an emotional dance that keeps her curious and engaged. Let's break it down with an example. Imagine you're talking to a woman and you say, "You're absolutely amazing, like my little sister." What just happened? You gave her a compliment, pulling her in emotionally, and then created playful distance by comparing her to someone completely non-romantic. This contradiction creates a spark of curiosity and keeps her guessing about your true intentions. Push-pull flirting works because it strikes a perfect balance between attraction and challenge. If you're overly complimentary, you risk coming across as needy. If you're too distant, you seem uninterested. The push-pull dynamic keeps her emotionally invested, wondering where she stands. Here's another example. You know, you're almost perfect for me, if only you weren't so stubborn. This playful jab acknowledges her good qualities while introducing a fun challenge. It shows that you're confident enough to tease her without taking things too seriously. Women are naturally drawn to men who can keep the interaction light and engaging while maintaining an air of mystery. Why is this method so effective? It aligns perfectly with human psychology. People value what they can't easily have. By keeping her on her toes, you make yourself seem more intriguing and, ultimately, more desirable. Push-pull flirting also subtly conveys that you're a man with high standards. You're not afraid to show interest, but you're also not falling over yourself to win her over. This creates the impression that you're a high-value man who knows his worth. Number 8. Pretend it's her fault. Here's a technique that's both playful and unexpected. Frame the interaction as if she's the one making the moves. By pretending it's her fault or her intention, you can inject humor into the conversation and create a dynamic where she feels like the pursuer. This role reversal adds an intriguing layer of tension and fun. For example, imagine she mentions something entirely innocent, like "I just moved into a new place." Instead of responding normally, you could say, "Oh, I see where this is going. You're already trying to find an excuse to invite me over." This type of response is lighthearted and doesn't take her statement too seriously. It creates a playful narrative where she's subtly framed as the one initiating the connection. What's brilliant about this approach is that it teases without offending and shifts the balance of power in the conversation. Another example might involve her complimenting you. "You're really good at making drinks." Your reply? "Thanks, but I'm starting to think you're just buttering me up, so I'll make you more cocktails." By turning the tables like this, you're showing confidence and a sense of humor while keeping the interaction engaging. This technique works because it disrupts expectations. Instead of being overly accommodating or predictable, you maintain a sense of control and playfulness. Why it works? This approach taps into the psychology of attraction by framing the dynamic as if you're the one being chased. People value what feels out of reach, and this playful framing makes her feel like she's the one working for your attention. It's also disarming. Humor and light teasing make the interaction enjoyable and memorable. But keep in mind, balance is key. You don't want to overdo it to the point where it feels like you're mocking her. The goal is to keep things fun, light, and intriguing. When used effectively, this technique communicates that you're confident, self-assured, and fully in control of the interaction. Number 9. Encourage her to use you. Sometimes, the best way to create playful tension is by flipping traditional roles and making it seem like she's the one using you. This approach not only adds humor but also subtly introduces romantic tension into the conversation without being direct. It's a clever way to keep the interaction light and engaging while positioning yourself as confident and high value. Here's how it works. Imagine you're doing something kind or helpful for her, and instead of letting it slide, you jokingly call her out. For example, "So, you're already using me to carry your bags? I see how this is going to intrigue next. You'll have me doing your grocery shopping too." This response is playful, non-offensive, and adds an unexpected twist. It teases her in a way that feels natural and fun, while also signaling that you're aware of the dynamic between you. Another example could involve a compliment she gives you. "Wow, you're really good at fixing things." You reply, "Careful, or you'll start finding reasons to break stuff just so I'll fix it for you." What makes this technique work so well is that it gently shifts the focus onto her actions, making her feel like the pursuer. It creates a lighthearted narrative where she's the one trying to impress or rely on you, a subtle reversal of traditional roles that sparks intrigue. This approach is also effective because it incorporates humor without undermining your value. It's a confident way to show that you're comfortable in your own skin and don't take yourself or the interaction too seriously. Why this technique works. Women are naturally drawn to men who can balance confidence with playfulness. By encouraging her to use you in a joking manner, you're demonstrating that you're in control of the interaction while still keeping it fun and engaging. This kind of humor creates a positive emotional connection, which is one of the strongest ways to build attraction. The key here is subtlety. You're not accusing her or being sarcastic. You're introducing a playful frame that keeps the conversation lively and memorable. When done right, this technique shows that you're a high-value man who knows how to navigate social interactions with charm and confidence. Conclusion. Flirting isn't just about what you say, it's about how you carry yourself and the emotions you evoke. Throughout this guide, we've explored techniques that go beyond surface-level tactics and dive deep into what truly makes a high-value man magnetic. Let's recap the key takeaways. Subtlety is key. Flirting is most effective when it's indirect and playful, leaving her intrigued rather than overwhelmed. Handle her tests with confidence. Stay calm, agree and amplify, and show her that nothing she says can shake your composure. Flip the dynamic. Act like you're the prize and playfully position her as the one pursuing you. Push-pull flirting. Create emotional tension by balancing attraction and challenge. Encourage her to use you. Add humor and romantic tension by flipping roles in a way that keeps the interaction fun and lighthearted. At the core of all these techniques is one unshakable principle: confidence. A high-value man knows his worth and doesn't need to seek validation from anyone. He approaches interactions with a calm, collected demeanor, which naturally draws people toward him. Flirting isn't about manipulation or games, it's about creating a connection that feels exciting and authentic. By mastering these techniques, you'll not only become better at flirting, but also elevate your presence as a man who's in control, intriguing, and worth remembering. So, as you take these insights into your own interactions, remember this: a high-value man doesn't chase, he inspires. Flirting is just the beginning of creating meaningful connections, and the way you carry yourself will make all the difference.